and co-chair of the Congressional Human Rights Caucus.
Gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Wolf, is recognized for 4 minutes.
I thank the gentlelady and ask unanimous consent to revise and extend.
Without objection.
First off, I'd like to thank Chairman Berman and Ranking Member Ross Layton for their support on the resolution and also on the staff, and I will put at the end all the staff members who have worked on this issue from my side from the very, very beginning. I'd also want to thank my colleague, Jim McGovern, who has taken on the role as co-chairman of the Congressional Human Rights Caucus, succeeding our good friend and colleague, the late Tom Lantos, for whom this resolution is named. Mr. McGovern has hit the ground running, and I believe that Mr. Lantos would be very proud of the job that he is doing. I first became interested in human rights when, in 1984, my good friend, former Congressman Tony Hall, asked me to go to Romania with him. As a result of that trip, it was a life-changing trip, and I would urge all members to sort of try to find these different events and places around the world whereby people are being oppressed and suffering, to sort of is an eye-opener for us. Ronald Reagan once said that the Constitution is a kind of a covenant, he said. It's a covenant that we have made not only with ourselves, but with all of mankind. By making the Congressional Human Rights Caucus into a commission, which will serve as an arm of the House of Representatives, I believe we are helping to take a step to fulfill that covenant. The creation of the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission will tell the world that the United States is still the shining city upon a hill, a beacon of hope in a world of turmoil and tragedy. It was the vision that led Congressman Lantos and former Congressman John Porter, with the helps of their wives, Annette Lantos and Catherine Porter, to really establish the Human Rights Caucus in 1983. There's much else that I could say, and I'll just revise and extend. One, I'm looking forward to working with Jim. This is to honor Mr. Lantos. It has seemed in the past that when major issues come up, the giants were Mr. Lantos and Mr. Hyde. And I may say my colleague to the right, Mr. Smith, and the gentlelady from Florida, Mrs. Ross Layton, and Mr. Berman, and some others, but really not a lot of others. And this is an opportunity for us to come together to really care about this issue, and hopefully we can get some of the new members who don't know they're going to be members, who are campaigning around the country somewhere, who will come here in January of next year, so that the baton is passed into new members who will come on, so there will be other people like Mr. Lantos and Mr. Hyde who will really kind of carry it well into the future. But I thank the leadership on that side for this, and I want to thank Jim and thank Mr. Berman and Mrs. Ross Layton, and yield back the balance of my
Gentleman yields back.